All right, so what HVAC brand should you get installed in your home? I have a brand that I like. I have multiple brands that I like, but I've installed a lot of different HVAC brands. I was gonna make a video about this and like run through all the HVAC brands and their pros and cons and stuff, and I think it would be better suited to make individual videos for different HVAC brands. The truth of the matter is there's not really a one size fits all which brand is best. I think every area is going to be different. I've done HVAC in 2 states. I've done it, here in San Diego, Southern California, and I did it in Phoenix for several years. And the needs across those 2 states and what systems work better are very, very different. I'll give some examples. In Arizona, under almost no circumstances in a residential setting would you be okay having an AC that could not be repaired same day. If we were in Arizona installing units that did not have same day fixes, then when we showed up to fix them, we would probably be booking the customers hotel rooms. The home would be too hot. It would be an uninhabitable environment. And so if we installed it and we went out and it was a warranty problem, we're paying for a hotel. In San Diego, that's almost pretty much never the case. You just open your windows at night. And so not that we have that, we actually haven't had that happen, but some of the units that we install, the parts, we haven't had that happen on units we've installed, but if that were to happen, it wouldn't be a big deal. Most people, we've had it happen on units we haven't installed where it's a week or 2 out before we can get parts, and it's never been a big deal. They just say, okay, I'll wait. That changes what kind of equipment that I'm willing to install as a contractor in San Diego versus Arizona, if that makes sense. So different locales are going to have different areas, different locales, even different parts of town. For us, coastal area and inland area could have a 20-degree difference on any given day. And so the way we treat those homes is going to be very different. And then other things to keep in mind are like energy costs where you live, just the general climate, like how cold does it get, how hot does it get? And then, but these are all things that, all these things, all the differences, what equipment is going to work good for your area, a good, solid contractor is going to be able to tell you, okay? So there's a lot of differences in every situation, and most homes, some areas, the homes are more cookie cutter, but in a lot of areas, like in San Diego, most of the homes are unique. And so it's really a case by case when we go out and quote a job. Kind of every quote is going to be unique. We look at the home and say, hey, like, what are the requirements here? Like, what do you want to do? And then we go from there and we try and see what the homeowner is trying to accomplish. And if you have a good contractor and the person that they send, whether the contractor or the sales guy or the technician they send, as long as they know what they're looking at, then they're going to be able to tell you what you need for your home. But like, honestly, a lot of the time the person they send out does not know what the hell they're talking about. And so I would like really vet the person that's in your home, asking them why they recommend the equipment they're recommending. Like, how is it going to perform under these circumstances? Maybe do some research, see what your neighbors have, see if they're happy with it. But one thing I will say is equipment reliability has definitely gone down, and that's across pretty much all brands over the last 15 years or so. 15 years ago, if a manufacturer was putting a product out, for the most part, they were going to be fairly reliable. Nowadays, if it's not installed well, it's not going to work well. And even then, if you're getting cheap equipment, if you're getting bottom of the barrel equipment, the reliability on any cheap equipment is going to be, for the most part, more poor. I would generally look into equipment that has like just a step up from the cheapest equipment available. And that's not you might get lucky. Some brands do have some product lines that have like maybe use slightly better parts, but like capacitors, motors, coils, like everything is cheaper. Coils are thinner, capacitors just, I mean, most capacitors across pretty much all brands. I installed a Rheem the other day, package unit. I didn't realize that Rheem started using cheap capacitors in their systems. They always use the ceramic ones. I think they're ceramic. Always perform really well. Like we never see those failing hardly at all. I find out installing this one the other day that they don't use those parts anymore. So it's like, it's just a bummer to see that for the most part, manufacturers, it's just all cost cutting now. They're all trying to offer the cheapest product nowadays. There's not like a lot of quality HVAC units being put in because people tend to buy cheap equipment. Try not to buy the cheapest, absolute cheapest quote you get, because it's probably not going to be reliable. I guess I'll say why I install the brand that I install where I am, but my favorite unit is the ducted Mitsubishi multi-position air handler. Okay, Mitsubishi SVZ. I'll make a whole different video on that one. It's long past due because a lot of our videos have it. Now, that unit, there's a couple reasons that we like it. The first reason is because a lot of the installs we do, they don't have an outdoor unit, or they're trying to do a heat pump conversion anyway, like from the get-go. And we don't have to worry about trying to get a 240 volt air handler inside. The electrical requirements for it are very, very low, which is a big deal where I am. The units though, one of their biggest limitations is they only come up to 3 tons. Okay, so in San Diego, most of the homes here are small. They don't need big units, and so a 3-ton unit is going to be plenty. But in other parts of the country, it's just, I mean, it's not going to be a realistic unit to install. Like in Arizona, this unit would never go in, and the reason is because the EER, so the efficiency at high temps is low, and so it would not be very efficient. Like there's gonna be a lot more efficient units for way cheaper. Running new lines in Arizona is more of a big deal. Out in San Diego, lots of the time it's fairly easy. Like the homes, well, or a lot of the homes here never had AC, and so the lines have already been ran, so we just follow the same path. Or we're adding AC to the home, and so it's already part of the project. Yeah, but we generally do like Mitsubishi where it makes sense to install. Outside of Mitsubishi, I have made some videos about Bosch. We got some Bosch installs, but I really don't have any major issues with any brands. I do have issues with certain products from certain brands. I hate York. Don't get York. I worked for a York dealer, and at first I thought, hey, maybe like it's only that their installs are doing bad, but I've worked on a lot of York now. They have a lot of restrictions in their refrigerant. Their furnaces aren't very service friendly. They have a product, the York HMH7. No one installs it right. They need a relay installed inside. No one installs that, and so it doesn't actually perform properly. I don't have a problem with Lennox, but Lennox communicating equipment I would never get. I worked for a Lennox dealer, and the Lennox communicating equipment, even if installed perfectly, somehow 5 years down the road, and all the Lennox communicating equipment they would usually install with a 5-year labor warranty, and at 6 years every fucking time we would have bad blower motors, bad compressors, bad condenser fan motors, bad controllers. The controllers on those things, yeah, Lennox keeps outdating the controllers, and so they had the iComfort, which I think is one of the biggest crimes in HVAC. They ripped off so many people with it because it didn't work, and then instead of addressing it or like giving everyone a free thermostat, they just like obsoleted the product and said, fuck it, we're not making this anymore. Really cheap equipment, like bottom of the barrel stuff, I would stay away from. But besides that, really almost any brand is fair game. I like installing ducted Mitsubishi. We do like doing Bosch. I like doing the Bosch highest efficiency stuff. I like that, like the Bosch units. The reason that we like doing Bosch is just because they fit in the place of old units. Even the 5-ton units, they're only 29 by 29, and so they fit in a place. The copper connections outside are solid copper, so we can actually braze onto them. It's not any of the plated bullshit that all these manufacturers are moving towards. They're just simple. They're very simple to install, and so we can charge less labor because it's not going to be a super long time to install it. We can knock it out pretty quick. They only require 3 outdoor wires for the heat pump. Yeah, just simple install, and we haven't had any warranty issues with Bosch. But if you install almost any brand good, it's gonna be okay. I'll make some separate videos about like specific brands and what I like about them, but as long as you don't do York, I think you're gonna be okay. So just make sure you pick an installer that knows their shit, is recommending a solid product. If you're going to use your HVAC a lot, if you get a slightly more efficient unit, it's probably going to pay itself off if you're in the home long term. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's kind of like buying a car. There's not a perfect car for everyone. So same thing in HVAC. There's not a one size fits all in HVAC. So you go out and you find the system and the contractor that fits your needs, and then that's the purchase you make. And the more important thing is going to be the contractor, because the contractor is going to be able to steer you in the right direction. Every locale is unique, and yeah, we relate that back to cars. It's like in San Diego, we don't have snow, we don't have like cold weather, so there's a lot less that goes into maybe maintaining a car, but we do have the ocean. We get that salt air. There's some things like whenever we're installing units close to the coast, we put a coastal coat on there. A lot of contractors in our area don't do that. Going with the right contractor is gonna be a lot more important than brand, but getting a good brand is still, I don't want to downplay that. I just want to say that, like, if you get the most expensive unit, but it's installed poorly and your house doesn't need it, then you might have been able to get a cheaper unit that accomplished the same end result. I had a quote recently on this YouTube channel, an install we did. The initial estimate I sent him, because I sent him something that basically he had some requests, and I wrote it up exactly how he requested it, despite me telling him I don't think he wanted it that way. And the quote came out to $35,000. He called me and said, hey, yeah, that's way more than what I thought it was gonna be. And I said, I did it exactly how you wanted. You wanted Mitsubishi, you wanted independent controls in each room, you wanted this, you wanted that, you wanted the kitchen on a separate unit so that your wife could control heat or cool as she wanted to. He said, all right, yep, you did it exactly how I asked. How can we get that to a better number? He ended up getting it to about 13, and still ducted Mitsubishi. He's happy as can be, his wife is happy as can be, and there's no complaints from either of them. We've been back in the home. They recommended us to their friends, and we've installed another system for one of their neighbors now. Sometimes you don't need to spend all that money and you're gonna be just as happy, but sometimes, and for some homes, maybe that $35,000 job would be worth it. So it really depends on how you're gonna use it, and once again, a good contractor is gonna steer you towards a purchase that you're going to be happy with. Money was no object. I would do every room individually, and there's multiple ways to do that. You could duct every room on individual units. You could do whatever you want, but it's like that would be the perfect world, but because it's going to be super efficient, out of sight, out of mind. You could duct every room. You could do some pretty cool stuff, but it's like, once again, if money is no object, because to get that installed by a contractor, it's gonna be a pretty penny. So unless you're gonna DIY it and do a maybe knockoff brand like Amazon special, then it's gonna be a little bit expensive to get done properly by a contractor. All right, there is one more thing I want to touch on here. Like, how long do you plan on owning the home? Because the system that might be perfect for you might not be perfect for the next homeowner. Getting a nicer system, generally speaking, is not going to add a lot of value to your home, if any. All they want to know is, how old is the system going to need to be replaced soon, and that's it. So if it needs to be replaced soon, they're going to try and get a bunch of money from you off the sale price of the home. But if it doesn't, then they're not. And so if you think you are probably going to sell a home in the next couple of years, that would be a circumstance in which I would say maybe you do get the cheap equipment. That's why a lot of home flippers get the cheapest equipment. Yeah, so if you're a prospective home buyer and they have an old HVAC unit, I would not let them replace it. I would fight for the money and I would replace it yourself. And there's two reasons. The first reason is that they're gonna go and get like 10 quotes, tell them all to make it as cheap as they can. Hey, I'm selling the home, I need a new HVAC unit. How cheap can you do this? They're gonna start giving all the contractors each other's prices, and they're gonna ask them if there's cheaper options out there. They'll get a scratch and dent unit. I've seen this probably 100,000 times. Then you're gonna get stuck with the HVAC unit. Low quality unit, the low quality install. That's what's gonna happen. Reason number two that I would recommend waiting to replace the unit till you're in the home is because generally the labor warranty and the manufacturer warranty technically do not have to be honored if you are not the original purchaser. That contract that they did, where they put a labor warranty on it, unless they buy a third-party warranty, it was not with you, it was with the original homeowner, and they don't have to honor it with you. And then the manufacturer warranty, in the fine print of pretty much every HVAC manufacturer warranty, it says that it's with the original purchaser. So if you're not the original purchaser, guess what? When they go and do the warranty claim, if the compressor fails, you're not gonna get credit for that. And then you're not gonna get any labor warranty. So if there's issues in 2 years, then that's all on you. Whereas if you get it installed by a reputable contractor, you might get a 10-year labor, 10-year parts warranty, and then you don't have to worry about anything for 10 years or 5 years or whatever it is with the contractor you go with. Yeah, so hopefully this steers someone in the right direction when they're looking at HVAC brands. I wouldn't focus too much on the brands. Sorry, I know this is a pretty long-winded explanation. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but yeah, I wouldn't focus too much. I would just focus on finding quality contractors. Definitely there's some brands that are better for certain areas. I've chosen some brands that I think work really well in our locale, and that's why I install what I install, and I explain that to customers. So as long as you have a contractor in your area that is able to do the same, I wouldn't really be too stressed about what brand you're going with necessarily. But yeah, but I like doing Mitsubishi, so take that for what it's worth.